Hey guys, it's Jay from ASMR for Nerds. Um, so I'm sorry I've been gone for a bit. I know I said after the holidays, I'd be making videos with more frequency, and that was the plan. However, I caught an actually really bad flu. And I was out for about a week. So if you saw about 2 weeks ago, I was making videos. I had the 3 in 3 days, and I was going pretty good, but that happened, and it wasn't necessarily that I couldn't make videos, but my voice was pretty much gone. And I don't know how well that would translate into being relaxing if you guys heard me all scratchy and stuff. So took the week off, and here I am. I'm back. So there's a lot to show you today. It's been 2 weeks since I did a comic shop, so we got about 2 weeks worth of books. I still don't have a ton because I've lessened my buying a little bit after the holidays. Also, I have these cinnamon mints that I'll be having while I talk to you guys. So I'm gonna get out one of these real quick. I'll take out a couple. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I'll put these aside. So let's jump right in here. Let's grab our first book. And this week, the first book we'll take a look at is Batman and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now this book was surprisingly, or maybe not so surprisingly, but this one kind of flew off the shelves. I wanted to grab a copy, but I was a couple of days late the week this came out, and I missed it. So I actually had to buy this one on eBay, and it was already up to like $10. So within a week or so, it went from, I think it was $4.99 $3.99, sorry, cover price, to $10, which is a pretty significant jump. There's a lot of people out there who are Batman collectors and a lot of Ninja Turtles collectors, especially when there's a cover drawn by Kevin Eastman, who was one of the creators of the Ninja Turtles. Let's see, who wrote this. This one is written by James Tynion IV. Art and cover by Freddie E. Williams II. Colors by Jeremy Caldwell. Letters by Tom Napolitano. And I think the best part of this is the artwork. Especially, I love how they draw Batman here. There have been so many different styles when it comes to drawing Batman. this one. So, I did read this issue, and it was pretty good. However, I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to continue with this series. It feels a little bit like a novelty, which is fine, and kind of why I bought it. I wanted the number one just because it's, Batman and Ninja Turtles and the same thing. Kind of a cash grab for IDW, but the art, it's great. The way they draw the turtles. So, like I said, I read this issue. It's basically somehow the Ninja Turtles got sent to Gotham. Their universe somehow collided. And Batman is on the case trying to find out who these aliens they think they are, who they are. And then, of course, Batman comes across Shredder. And that's about it. This issue is basically just introducing the characters to each other. And today I do have bags and boards. So we'll put this one away here. Now this book I anticipate not being worth a ton. But I could see it getting up there in the $40 range in the next year or two. But I've been wrong before, so. Alright, next book. We got a big one here. We have Secret Wars number 9 of 9. So, for those of you who actually read comics, you'll know that this Secret Wars story took quite a bit of time to finish, but here it is. And I gotta say, it was pretty great. Very often, big events miss the mark, but this one absolutely did not. And this was a great ending. I'm not going to tell you anything about the ending except it's quite clear that Marvel is taking a break from having the Fantastic Four in books. So I don't really want to tell you guys even where we are in the story because this is like an event that I really would suggest you guys read. The art is amazing. And the story is just it's so different. I mean, that's classic Jonathan Hickman, but he's been planning this story for years. And it was just done so well. And normally I'm not very much of a Reed Richards or Fantastic Four fan, but I think this story really opened me up to Reed Richards, or at least this version of him. So I'm not going to flip through the whole thing. I don't want to spoil anything. So that's Secret Wars number 9. Maybe in the next year or so, we could do a read through of all the Secret Wars issues. However, without a lot of context, it would probably make no sense. If you're interested in reading Secret Wars, unfortunately, there's a lot of what I would consider to be required reading to understand the story and get the most out of it. And that would be, I would start with New Avengers. I believe in 2013 it started, but it was John Hickman's New Avengers. In that I would, and then I would also read The Avengers, number 1, also written by Jonathan Hickman. Now around issue, I think 11, I could be totally wrong, but around there, the Infinity event starts. Now the Infinity event seems like a big event on its own, but in reality it's like setting up what's going to happen in Secret Wars. So Secret Wars has the Avengers, the New Avengers, all leading up, plus an event that sets the table for Secret Wars. So it's a lot of reading. It's definitely worth it, especially the New Avengers. That was, I think, the best part. Okay, so enough of my Secret Wars babbles. Next book. Clearly not a new book, but we have the Omega Men first star-spanning issue. Now, the Omega Man came out, I believe, in the mid-'80s. We could look right now and find out. Let's see. 1983. Omega Men Volume 1, Number 1, April 1983. It's got that old paper, which I miss. And this copy, this is a really nice copy. I don't know if you can tell, but the ink is so bold and dark, and I don't think this ever saw air before. I don't think this book was ever opened, but it is now. So the Omega Men are not too far off from, like, the Guardians of the Galaxy. However, the Omega Men are a DC group. See how the pages just fight back? That's what happens when a book has not been opened. The spine doesn't really, most people when reading would push this down so they could see the page flat, but it doesn't look like anyone has done that over time. So in Omega Men number 1 here, we have let's see if we have a page where we can introduce the characters. Here we go. So this is the leader of the Omega Men, Primus. This is Brute. He's kind of like a big softie. But here we have Callista, I think. No, that's not Callista. I don't know her name. That's Callista. And this is Harpus. I guess he's like a vampire thing. And then this tiger guy is Tigor. So basically, in this first issue, the Omega Men see a group called the Citadel oppressing Brute's home planet. However, on Brute's home planet, he's not a celebrated character. Although he looks like a big violent brute, the planet he comes comes from is extremely passive, and they believe in, only using diplomacy and all that, and that's great and everything, but they're allowing the Citadel to take advantage of them, and Brute sees that, but the rest of them don't. So later on in Omega Man number 2, which I have, but I'm not going to show you, Brute finds out that there's a kind of rogue group on his old planet of people that protect him, or not protect him, but like look up to him. So what happened here? I actually bought Omega Man 1 through 10, and the reason for that was I was interested in the character Lobo, the DC character, who I think was made off of like Gene Simmons of Kiss. That's who he reminds me of. Like a very 80s kind of metal guy. And Lobo made his first appearance in Omega Man number 3. So I went out and I bought Omega Man 1 through 10. And I'm currently reading through those. I'm on to number 4, but I'll show you guys here. Here's the Omega Man number 3. And this is the first appearance of Lobo. For those of you who know Lobo, you'll see he looks very different here than how he eventually ends up looking. But this is the first time he's here. And I kind of see Lobo as like a relic of the 80s. He's a very late 80s, early 90s sort of character with the big hair and huge muscles. The violence, he's on a motorcycle, the Kiss makeup, all that. So at the time this book was $1, and now it's probably around 40, 50, 60, maybe even 70, depending on the grade. But I picked this one up. This is a high grade issue. I'd say it's probably a 9.3, 9.2, 9.4, around there. And I got this one cheap for $20 at a store. The guy working there actually didn't even know this was the first appearance of Lobo, so that's when you know you have a pretty good find. Okay, next. We got a lot of books today. Next we have The Vision. Now, if any of you guys have been paying attention to the Marvel Universe, and especially reviews of books coming out, you will know that The Vision is one of the most highly reviewed books out there. I would say it's up there with Doctor Strange as the best books Marvel are putting out right now. So the general story is Vision had a family built for him. This is his wife. And they're trying to assimilate in a suburban sort of setting. But they're having some difficulty. The bad guy, what was his name? The Grim Reaper, I think. Yeah, the Grim Reaper. Came into the Vision's house and attacked them, saying that the Vision's family that was built for him, they're all robots if you didn't know, were built off of his own family and he wanted to kill them. And Vision's wife, I think her name was Vivica, ended up killing him, and no one knew that happened. So she's trying to cover it up from the family. And the Avengers are looking for where Grim Reaper is to see why he attacked them, but they can't find him. So eventually, I assume what's going to happen is they're going to find out she killed him. But who knows? Because the story is definitely taking some strange turns. This is issue number 3, so they are not quite very far into it yet. And it would be a great time if you're looking to jump into a comic. I would say find Vision number 1 and get into that. You don't need much prior knowledge or comic book experience to be able to, get what you get out of that. Okay, next. Here's a crowd pleaser. We have Spider-Man and Deadpool. It's just a matter of time until they put these two guys together. There were so many covers that came out for this one, but this is the one I went for. I'm kind of a sucker for the toy variants. So basically, they start right off with Spider-Man and Deadpool in a bit of trouble. And within 2 pages, we have Deadpool already being Deadpool. See, they're all webbed up together and hanging. And what Deadpool did, I'm not quite sure what it did, but he coaxed himself into getting a little boner. And somehow that helped them escape. I don't know how. But it happened, so. Now this issue is it's a pretty thick issue. I don't know if you could tell, but it's got a good weight to it. And for the price of $3.99, I thought, what a good deal. But as you'll see in a minute, you'll see why it is a thick issue. So I did read this, and it was okay. I mean, like I've said in the past, I'm not the biggest Deadpool or Spider-Man fan. But it was okay. I mean, I guess if you're a fan of these guys, you probably already bought this. So look, that was the whole issue. And really what happened in this one was Deadpool wants to be a good guy. He's always kind of been a bad guy. Or like on the edge of good guy, bad guy. And he wants to follow Spider-Man around to learn how to be a real good guy. So this is the end of the issue. And I was like, oh, there's a whole seemingly other issue behind it. And what they did was they bundled the Vision number 1 into this book. So when you buy Spider-Man and Deadpool, you get Vision number 1. I think they did this because of how great it was, and they know that once people read it, they'll want to continue. So, just like I said, if you're interested in getting into a book or comics, Division #1 is a great start. And now you could just buy any issue of Spider-Man Deadpool and you'll get this story as well as Division. So, not bad. They don't, Marvel doesn't do that often, so I think they're really trying to push Division. It's getting such good reviews, and a lot of people are talking about it, so they're probably just trying to keep that on. Next, the all-new Inhumans, written by Charles Soule. Now, this is a book that I took a couple of weeks to actually buy. The only reason I did buy it, honestly, was because the store was selling it for $1. I am a fan of the Inhumans, however. Charles Soule has been writing them for about 1.5 years now, and I have not liked what he's done. So that's why I wasn't too happy when they announced that Daredevil is going to be taken over by Charles Soule. He seems to be getting a ton of work, which is fine, but not not the writer that I would have wanted. I find him to be just a little, dry. And that might make sense because in real life, Charles Soule is a district attorney. But somehow he got into comic books and he's one of Marvel's go-to writers now. So I figured I'd give it a try because I do love the Inhumans, but don't necessarily love the writer. Okay. Next book. We have the Green Lantern Edge of Oblivion. Now, the Green Lanterns Corp books usually don't involve whoever the main Green Lantern is. So you won't see Hal Jordan here. You'll see the other Green Lanterns. We have Kilowog and is that Guy Gardner? Maybe Kyle Rayner. Yeah, Guy Gardner, I think. So I don't have much context for this book. I have not kept current on Green Lantern, although that's a bit of a regret. I just bought the first 2 trade paperbacks of the Green Lantern's New 52 run by Jeff Johns, and I'm going to try and get up to date. So I figured this was a #1, so I'll give it a shot. Usually the Green Lantern Corps books are usually a little on the stranger side, dealing with a lot of aliens from other planets and different races, and kind of, it almost seems like an experimental sort of story, although I didn't read this issue yet. It looks like there's a lot of craziness going on. advertisements for. They're making a Poison Ivy story by Amy Chu. So, just a quick look at that one. I might pick up the pace, or maybe even just split this into 2 videos, because I have a lot of books here. Maybe we'll just do that. I don't know, we'll see. And also, I'd like to get back into reading you guys an issue during these comic shop videos. Okay, next. This is a Canadian superhero called the Pitiful Human Lizard, and this one has the Majestic Rat. This is kind of your he's kind of a superhero that is struggling with the old, balance of real life and superhero life. The people at his job know that he's a superhero, so he calls out sick and his boss says, I know you're out superheroing. And his best friend is this guy who controls rats, reminiscent of the Rat King. The bad guys in this issue are these ex-Toronto Raptor cheerleaders who fight them with dance moves. So this book definitely has a sense of humor for sure. Here's a little reference to the famous pizza rat. Here in New York City, there's a rat they keep seeing that likes pizza. I don't know if it's the same rat or a different rat, but it's gone viral, and he's famous here. So basically, if you're into kind of alternative sort of superheroes, I'd say I would recommend this book. I think it's pretty funny, and it has some interesting elements, like the guy who's the human lizard. His dad was the original human lizard, and he's just kind of old now, and I don't know, it's got a weird dynamic, but it's a good book. Toronto's most pathetic superhero duo. Now, for those of you guys who like the bags and boards, I don't know if you saw my last video. Basically, the whole thing was just bagging and boarding. So if you like that, go back and you can go back in my videos and take a look. Okay, the next book is one that I really, really, really like. It's called Huck by Mark Millar, famous for Kick-Ass and Old Man Logan and a bunch of other stories. This is an Image title. It kind of has elements of Superman. Basically, this guy is indestructible, super fast, super strong, and he kind of helps people out in his small town. But this is issue 3 we're looking at now, and by this point, word got out, and then the world started asking him for help. So now he's kind of stretched thin, trying to help as many people in the world as he can. And he's becoming a bit of a celebrity, which is not really what he ever wanted. Here we have the governor trying to trick Huck into getting into a photo op. So basically, there's a lot of people who are taking advantage of him because of his seemingly simple mind. This page, if you guys read this, we'll see. This is the page that hit me, really sold me on this book. So Huck is kind of just a quiet simpleton, and he's going through all these things, saving people. And in the first issue, he was left as a baby at this family's house, just with a note that says, "Please love him." And here, after the governor tried to manipulate him into being in a photo to support him at some sort of, gala or ball, he goes back to his hotel and just looks at that. I don't know, it's sad. But done very well. So all Huck is interested in is helping people. He doesn't want money. I'm not going to turn to the last page because if you are going to read this, that would be a spoiler. I try to avoid those. So Huck, highly, highly recommend this. It's a very quick read. Each issue, not a lot of words, but it's one of those books that the story is told more in, visuals, which is, I think, would be harder to do. But very often, when it's done right, it's great. So. Okay, next. Ooh, one of my favorites out now. This. So this is Superman, American Alien. I have talked about this book quite a bit on these videos. I've showed you guys number 1 and number 2. This series is a mini-series. I believe it's going to be 8 issues. And it's written by Max Landis, who is, he's a screenwriter. He wrote the movie Chronicle and American Ultra, which I just saw. It was great, so I'm pretty high on Max Landis now. So each issue takes place in a different part of Clark Kent's kind of upbringing. First issue is a small kid. The one before, he was kind of a teenager, and here he is as like a college-age student. So this issue is interesting. This issue starts with him taking flight lessons and crashing into the ocean. And this is interesting here. When they crashed and they're underwater and he pulled the instructor out, he says, "Yikes, I didn't know I could drown." So it's like Superman still just, figuring out what he can and can't do. And then when he gets out of the water, there's like a yacht nearby. And when he gets on it, they say happy birthday. And it turns out this boat is a birthday party for Bruce Wayne, a young Bruce Wayne who's turning 21. And they all think Clark is Bruce Wayne, because it turns out Bruce was such a recluse that no one ever saw him. So these people are all kind of fake friends throwing a party for him, and apparently every year they throw a party, and Bruce never shows up, so they don't even know what he looks like. So for a bit, Clark takes on that role and kind of lets loose, gets drunk, meets a girl, eventually tells her that he's Clark, and this is funny. So they poison his drink. But being that he's Superman, not Batman, it doesn't affect him fully. And look who comes along. Trying to kill Bruce Wayne. And it's not quite working. He tries to stab him and he can't because he's Superman. And then with a flick he gets rid of him. So this one is kind of it's still great. Every issue of this has been great so far. So I'm definitely going to keep reading this until the end. I've even bought multiple copies. And I'm buying up the variants for it too. This is my favorite Superman story in a long time. If you are a fan of Superman, I would say highly, highly recommend that. Because Max Landis is known for being a very big Superman fan. Okay, next. All new, all different Avengers, written by Mark Waid. Another great Alex Ross painted cover. Look at that. So what's going on with these Avengers are, they aren't quite the Avengers yet. They haven't decided they are, but we have Sam Wilson, Captain America, Iron Man, Vision, Thor, who's the Lady Thor, Miss Marvel, Nova, and I believe Miles Morales, Spider-Man, from Ultimate Spider-Man. And it's kind of like the older veterans, Vision, Sam Wilson, Iron Man, kind of leading the younger ones, Miss Marvel, Nova, Spider-Man. They end up fighting this guy, Warbringer, who's trying to open up a portal to allow his army into Earth to take over Earth. Typical Avengers style story, very big threats, big explosions, big battles. And I'm here. And the end is when they get together. Here, I'll read you this page. No one's carrying the name Avengers right now, not formally at least, as far as I'm concerned. Then you're the only team founder still active, so gold star for the fan turned pro, I could tell. Couple of you I know well, most of you not so much, but I do feel like we raised each other's game today. And I would be willing to play that out and see where it goes. Yes, if anyone's, interested, yes. We have no funds, we have no equipment, and at any moment Ultron or Gang or somebody could come gunning for us. With that said, who wants to join me as an Avenger? So here we have our new Avengers, or the all-new, all-different Avengers. So let's bag this up. Okay, next. This is, now that Secret Wars is over, this is probably the biggest thing happening in comics now. The Dark Knight 3, The Master Race by Frank Miller and Brian Azzarello. This is book number 2. Now this story is kind of weird, and I kind of like it. So I'm not going to tell you too much because of if you're reading it, but which many people are. I know a lot of people who don't normally buy comics are still reading this. So it's implied that Batman has died, or Bruce Wayne has died. And Superman's daughter, it seems with Wonder Woman, they had a daughter, and this is in the future, is working with the Atom, and they're trying to help the city of Kandor. So there is some things you need to know. Kandor is a city. Here, I'll show you. It's a city that Brainiac captured. It's a city from Krypton, Superman's planet. And he basically miniaturized it, put it in a capsule, and kept it. Because what Brainiac does is he collects parts of the universe for studying and cataloging. So, although Krypton was destroyed, Kandor still lives, and it's miniaturized, but the people still live inside of it. So technically there are still Kryptonians alive, so they're trying to restore Kandor. And then, just like I showed you in the first book of this, there's a little story inside of it, like a little comic within a comic. And this one is about Wonder Woman's and her dynamic with her daughter. And they kind of don't seem to get along here. Wonder Woman is trying to teach her lessons, and she's not quite. Let's see. She's trying to teach her how to fight. And Wonder Woman is sweating and putting in a lot of effort, and she doesn't quite get through because, after all, I'm Kryptonian. And she flies away. So, after that, the story continues. So also the thing that's going on is Superman's little sidekick here, who I believe she was Robin in the Frank Miller story, was captured by the police, and she's kind of playing games with them. So here the Atom finally restores Kandor, and when he does, he realizes that most of it is, most of the people there have been murdered. And it seems like there's a cult leader of some sort who is involved in that. And the Atom says, you think he made a mistake? And he dies. So basically, Kandor, the cult that took over Kandor is now freed. And now that they're on Earth under the influence of our sun, they basically all have the powers of Superman. So this is going to be a problem. I'm not going to show you the last page because it's another spoiler. So, Dark Knight 3 Master Race, definitely worth it. Worth the read. I really like where this one's going, especially with the Kandor storyline. Okay, next. Next is a book that I knew nothing about. It didn't even look that good to me, the cover. But actually, I was watching an ASMR video by Chycho, Chycho. I'm sure if you watch my videos, you're familiar with his because he does a lot of comic book videos, and he's great. But he said he picked this up and loved it, so I saw it, and I thought, why not? I'll give it a try. honest, I loved it too. The artwork did not appeal to me when I opened it up, but because he said it was so good, I mean, it's very text heavy. There's a lot of story here. See, but it was really good. It was a different sort of take, although if I explain it, it might sound like it's been done before, but it's done in a very unique way. Basically, this little girl has an overactive imagination and wants to be a superhero. So she hires this homeless guy to mug her parents. She's trying to recreate the situation that made Batman Batman. And, she didn't want him to kill them, just mug them. And it turns out he saw them and he explained to them that he thinks their daughter is troubled. That's the basic idea, but it was done really well. I'm definitely going to add this to my pull list. For those of you who don't know, a pull list is, if you go to a comic store, they'll automatically pull the books for you that you want. I don't always do that because I do like to pick which issues I get based on the condition. But yeah, this is one I'm definitely going to continue reading. I really liked it. Next, we have Weirdworld by Sam Humphries. And as you guys know, from watching my videos, I'm a huge fan of Mike Del Mundo, the artist who did this book. So what's going on in this? I'll read it to you. My name is Becca Rodriguez, and I am stuck in a weird world. I was trying to bring my mom's ashes to Mexico, but then the plane crashed in this freaky place, and a crap ton of monsters showed up, and then the plane exploded. So yeah, I'm pretty screwed. I met a wizard who could have maybe sent me back to Earth with this weird Wuxian seed thing. But then this giant lady named Goleta, the wizard slayer, kind of killed him. And I guess I'm her squire now, but I don't want to kill wizards. All I want to do is go home. If anyone finds this, please send help to Weirdworld. And right off the bat, you can see Del Mundo's art just stands out. So, this is issue number 2, right? Number 2. And I'm already into it. Definitely going to continue reading this. Would definitely recommend it. Weirdworld is just this part of the Marvel Universe that's just crazy things happen. And it's not quite told yet if it's another dimension. Look at the splash page. Boom. Aru. So we don't quite know if it's an other dimensional sort of thing or... So this girl is trying to get back to Earth. And the only way she could do that is through the help of a wizard. However, the only person protecting her is a wizard slayer. So, look at that. Jeez. Oh, this one I'm excited for. This is an advertisement for Power Man and Iron Fist are coming back. Probably right in time for them to be part of the TV series, or their own TV series. Okay. So that is Weirdworld number 2. So that's it for the books I have. Now, I have the variant covers that I've bought over the past couple of weeks, and there's a good amount. So let's look at them and talk about them. So the first one here is Drax, the Destroyer. And this one says Marvel Comics 92. So I guess they did a series of variants from artwork similar to 92. This art was done by Ron Lim. If you can tell, Drax looks quite different here than he does in the movie and the current book. The current book, which is written by the wrestler CM Punk. And so far it's okay. But here, Ron Lim's art, if you recognize it from my other readings, as we're reading through the Infinity Gauntlet books, he is the artist for much of that story. So we have Thanos here, because that's Drax's main reason for existing, to kill Thanos, whatever. So I picked up this issue, this cover for $12, you know. I love Ron Lim's art. I love Infinity Gauntlet in this sort of time period of early 90s cosmic Marvel. So they got me with this one. Next, we got a couple of these. We have a Nova variant that I paid $15 for. And this is, I'm sure you could even guess at this point, because I've showed you guys so much of his art, but this is a Mike Allred variant. He's kind of doing a lot of space stuff now, which I think is perfect for him. He uses a lot of, his wife is actually the colorist for him, so this is his wife's coloring. She uses a lot of purples and pinks and blues, and I love how the colors are. So here we have Nova flying, and his dad kind of in the background. I'm pretty into this new Nova series. It's pretty good. Nova, he thought he had his father back, but his father turned out to be, I don't know, someone else, from like an alien of some kind. So he's got to find where his real father is and find out who that guy was. Next. Okay. You might sense a pattern here. This is a Secret Wars variant. Although this is Secret Wars number 4. This artist is Jim Starlin, who worked with Ron Lim on the Infinity Gauntlet series. Jim Starlin is the guy who created Thanos and created the Infinity Gauntlet story arc, and I consider him to be one of the most important writers in Marvel history. He really is the one who, put the cosmic Marvel scene onto, in the mainstream. And all the movie stuff going on now is kind of being built around his Infinity Gauntlet story, although I don't know how much they're going to actually use the stuff he wrote. But this is a Jim Starlin variant. I got this one for cover price, $3.99, so that's a good find, I think. Next. Guardians of the Galaxy number 1. Another Mike Allred variant. Here, it's Groot smashing planets, it seems, or moons. Again, look at the space theme and the purples and the cosmic stuff, the pinks, the blues. Really nice. I'm not loving the Guardians of the Galaxy story. I stopped reading at number 2, so. Next, this is a great cover. Wow, look at that. This is the Dark Knight 3, Book 1. In this variant, I showed you guys another variant for this one, I think in the last video. of Batman with his spiked foot smashing Superman's face in. And this one has Superman standing over Batman. It looks like he's having some trouble. It's a really nice cover. Next, oh look, it's another Michael Allred. This book came out about a year ago. This was Grant Morrison's Multiversity, issue number 2. Very strange story, but very good. DC kind of just gave Grant Morrison his own universe to do with as he pleases. And he made a really great story. A lot of tie-ins, very interesting stuff. So I went back on eBay actually, and I didn't know this cover existed. I saw it somewhere, and then I said I had to have it, so I bought actually two of these. Again, space, pink, blue, purples. Very nice colors. Okay, so that's it for the variants. The last thing I wanted to show you guys, which I don't know if you'll be excited about, but I sure was. Check this out. I did not know this existed, and I don't know if this was popular in any way. But the Eradicator was a character, was one of my favorites from the Death of Superman story. He was one of the Supermans who were claiming to be the real Superman, but wasn't. But he was the one who was kind of took over Superman's essence, sort of. So I know nothing of this story. I saw it in a dollar bin, even though it says $4. There's this great story here in New York. I actually, it's on Long Island. I take a train out every once in a while to visit that store because it's one of my favorite comic book stores. It's called Best Comics in New Hyde Park, New York. Highly recommend that place. They do refresh their boxes pretty much, monthly. And they have a great deal where most of the back issues are, if you buy 10, you get them for $1 each. So, and then every once in a while they'll have quarter bin sales where these comics that are normally $1 for, buy 10 for $1 each, they'll be a quarter each. So I'll go there with a long box and just fill it up. And I've gotten some really good comics there. I've got almost a complete run of Madman and the Atomics. I filled a lot of holes in my Daredevil collection and my Superman collection. I got almost the full run of Quasar, which is not exciting to most people, but I love Quasar. So let's crack this open. Just take a look at the issue number 1 as our last sort of look here today. Now, if you notice the bags that I normally use have a sticky part. The reason because I hate when books are closed with tape. Because what often happens is when you're taking the book out, that tape will stick to the book and drag it, occasionally ruining it. So what I'll do is I'll fold this back and tape it here, see, like that. And then you could safely take the book out. Now, this book is probably worth nothing, but it's in such good condition, and when I like a character, I like to have their books in really good condition. So, it seems like this book was not read ever. There is no damage to it, no indications that it was read. This came out in 1996. So I guess what this is the origin of Eradicator. Maybe. I have no idea what's going on in this, but it looks like it's at a time where Superman is alive. So we have long-haired Superman here, which tells me this is takes place after the death of Superman's story, when Superman comes back with that long, flowing 80s hair. And I guess in this one, the Eradicator would be a bad guy, just because how he looks. He looks pretty bad. Interesting advertisements for Helix Comics. Cyberella. The 90s were obsessed with cyber things. Here we go, Helix Comics. Gemini Blood. I've never heard of any of these. The Deal of Steel. Alright, so that flip through didn't really give us any this movie Alaska. So this didn't really give us much in terms of what it's about, but who cares? I'm definitely gonna read this one, and I'll share it with you guys. Maybe I'll do a reading of it here, although I don't know if that'll be the best use of our time, because looking through my my page and seeing what people are viewing and what they're looking at the most. It's when I do videos of the not so popular characters, you guys, less people seem to get into it, so maybe I'll stick with the popular ones. People seem to like Harley Quinn, Deadpool, Batman. But, I try to avoid just doing the popular guys. I try to give you guys, maybe some suggestions that you wouldn't get elsewhere. I don't know. So that's it for today, guys. I'm definitely back this time, I promise. I'm not sick anymore. Holidays are over. I got plenty of free time. Or, not plenty, but good enough. So more videos to come. That's it. I hope you guys had a nice January so far, while I was gone, and we'll see you soon.